This is your continuation of your previous video. We had seen some different types of problems related to finding the centroid. I'll define you more number of problems in this topic because you need to be more familiar in this topic to find out the centroid. Now we'll see that they had given one complex structure. That is, it is in a shape of unknown shape. That means it is in this shape. We don't have a particular formula to find out the shape. So what we are going to do, we are going to divide this part into many different types. So consider this is one quadrant circle. So this can be easily find out using your normal formulas. So the next thing will be, you can consider this whole as your rectangular section. What you have to detect from this, you have to detect your quadrant circle from this. When you detect your quadrant circle from this, you will get the remaining portion. Okay, see, you are going to detect this portion, so you can find out easily this other things. That is what they had mentioned here. They are dividing it into three different types of sections. One is your whole rectangle, and the second one is your quadrant circle, and the third one is your another one quadrant circle. So already we had discussed about the formulas. Students, I'm just compelling you to study those formulas because without that formula you can't even able to do the sums. So mug it up first for some basics like how to do the rectangle, how to do the triangle when it is a right angle triangle, and if it is a normal triangle, and the scalene triangle, and the other one is a normal semicircle, quadrant semicircle. For the normal type of things you need to study it compulsorily. Okay, when you do study that formulas only, you can do the sums very easily, you can understand is also very easy. Okay, so first we are moving into the component number 1. What is the component number 1 over here? It is your rectangular component. So this whole thing you are going to take it as a first component. This whole height into your breadth will give you the area. How you'll find out your x? You have to find your x from your axis. See, in this sum your axis lies in between. This is your y-axis and this is your x-axis. So how you will find this distance from this? It is equal to b divided by 2. So the distance will be 15, but it is in a negative direction of your axis. So that is minus 15. So that only they had mentioned here minus 15. Y-axis also it has been given as 15. It is in a positive direction from the x-axis. So it is directly 15. The component number 2 is taken as your quadrant circle, which you have to detect it. So that only they are mentioning it is in a negative symbol. That means whenever you are adding up all the values, you have to subtract the value of this quadrant circle, so that your value will be equal to pi into r square divided by 4, and the x will be equal to, how this x value came? See, x is from your y-axis. Okay, from your y-axis means the distance is equal to 4 into r divided by 3 pi. See, this is somewhat complex for you. When your quadrant circle is like this, your distance will be 4r divided by 3 pi from here. But when it is in this ulta direction, this distance will be equal to 4r divided by 3 pi. So what will be the remaining distance of this? This 30 minus 4r divided by 3 pi will give you this remaining distance. That is your x value. That is what they had mentioned here, minus of. Why this minus? Because we are going to subtract this position, and also this x lies in your negative direction of your y-axis, so that you are taking, see, whenever you are considering this area, you have to detect it. When you have to detect the portion, you have to put a minus in front of your area. But for your x and y, when it is in your left side of your axis, you need to put it as a minus. When it is downwards of your axis, you need to put it as a minus. But here, this position lies on your left side of your y-axis and positive direction of your x-axis. So they are giving it as minus 30 minus 4 into 30 divided by 3 pi, and the other one is directly they are taking as 30 minus 4r divided by 3 pi. The third component is your normal quadrant circle. So adopt the same formula to find out your component area x and y. So what are the other parameters you need to calculate? A into x and a into y. After calculating a into x and a into y, you need to find summation of a, summation of ax and summation of ay. Summation means you are going to add all the values. If it is minus in front, you need to minus those values. So you will get a different a value, ax value and ay value. So your from your coordinates of the value of x will be equal to summation of ax divided by summation of a, which you will get the answer is 8.562 mm. Y bar value you will calculated by summation of ay divided by a. So you will get y value as 11.438. That means what it states, from the axis distance. See, if your axis is like this, your centroid is going to act, your x distance is 8.5 and your y is this distance. So your centroid will lie at the positive coordinate. That is what your answer. So consider one more problem now. This is somewhat complex. Okay, we had seen different types of problems before, but all the detection part is in the outer corner. But in this diagram, what is the complexity? The diagram we are going to adopt is, it is in the center position, we have to subtract it. Okay, same thing you are going to adopt it, no other worries. Same thing, one is your semicircle, one is your rectangle and the other one is your triangle. What you have to subtract from this? You need to subtract the circle from this. That is what rectangle, semicircle, triangle and circle out. Okay, that means I'll define you one more time this question, how to differentiate it. They had given this whole thing as your question now. You can divide this position. So this will give you the whole right angle triangle. This portion can be obtained by your semicircle. How this portion can be obtained? This is your normal rectangle, but you need to subtract a circle from it. Circle also we have a formula above. So when you do that, you will get the remaining portions of this rectangle. So this is your question. Already you know the procedure how to do it. Just put it up a table and find out the values according to this. Only your difficulty will be like how to differentiate your diagram. You already now you came to know how to differentiate it. So differentiate into different components, that is your rectangle, semicircle and triangle. What the position we are going to detect it, that portion is your circle. So we are going to detect the circle portion. Use the corresponding formulas, substitute your values and find out your summation of a, summation of ax and summation of ay value. When you do that, you can easily calculate your x bar and y bar value. If you have any doubt in this calculation part, you can contact me and you can ask me your doubts. Okay, this is very simple procedure, only the same procedure, but the problem is like you need to study the formulas more and more. Now we'll see into some important problems. This is like your university questions. This is your structure they had given. How you can divide this? You need to find the centroid of the shaded area of the lamina. You need to divide it into some other position to find out the laminas. How they had divided? They had divided into rectangle, right angle triangle, quarter circle, and the detection is your circle and the rectangle. See how to calculate. I'll define you one more time. This can be calculated like this is your whole area. See, this is your quadrant circle. Somewhat shape had been defined. This thing you have to find it up. Okay. here is your y-axis and here is your x-axis. So to need to find this thing, you can use your right angle triangle, right? If you want to if you need to find this portion, you can calculate this whole as one rectangle and you can detect this part. For the other thing, you need to calculate one semi, that is quadrant circle, and you can minus your circle from it. So how many things you need to calculate? 4. In that 4, 2 is your detections. Okay. Sorry, 5. And in that 2 is your detections. Clearly mentioned over here. This is your complete one thing. Okay. 2 is your triangle, 3 is your quadrant, 4 is your circle, and 5 is your negative part of this. Considering this as a whole rectangle, and you can minus this and this position. That is what they had mentioned in this table. So for the first rectangle, we can use the normal formulas and you can find the values directly. That is 200 into 100. In some cases, you don't need to calculate this fifth position because it is not inside your normal lamina. You can neglect that also. If you add it up also, it is not going to change any values, but you can adopt the same methodology. Okay. So when you're taking the rectangle, substitute in the formula and get your area, x value and y value, and find out your ay and ax. For the right angle triangle also, we already know the formulas. Substitute the values and get your values. For the quarter circle also, you need to find what is the detection parts here, circle and your rectangle. So detect that and get your net value of your summation of a into x, summation of a into y, and summation of a. After getting that, substitute in your formula and get your coordinates of your centroid. Now we are going into some more problems for it. I'll just define you how to differentiate into the symbol shapes. Then you can do the remaining things. See, this can be taken as one whole rectangle and you can subtract this semicircle. Okay, this can be taken it as a semicircle. This can be taken take as a one rectangle. That is what they had mentioned over here. See, both rectangle and the semicircle portion we are going to detect it. Already we know the formula. Substitute your values according to that and find your summation of ax, summation of ay, and summation of a. After that, you can calculate your coordinates. Okay, when you are going to some more complex problems, see, this is one more problem. They had given like this shape. This is your shape. Now how to calculate this? You can, if they are not giving any x and y axis, you can take it at the bottom of your diagram. So you consider this as one of your quadrant circle, so you can neglect this. This you consider as semicircle and you can neglect this. For the others, you can divide it into two parts. One is your triangle and the other one is your rectangle. From the rectangle, you are going to detect two parts, that is, one is your quadrant circle and the other one is your semicircle. So you'll get the remaining portion. That is what they had mentioned here. One is your common rectangle and the other portion they had divided into this some other thing, but you can take it as a common thing also. See, in this how they had calculated is like they had differentiated this as one rectangle and this is as a other rectangle, and they are subtracting this quadrant over here and this semicircle over here. Then they are adding the triangle over here. But if you want to take it as a more complex thing, you can consider this as a whole rectangle, this as a whole triangle, and you can neglect the quadrant and also your semicircle. If you do like that also, you will get the same value. But you need to find like, you need to know the procedure how to do this. Okay, this problem can be solved in two different methods. This also can be adopted and this also can be adopted. Both will give you the same answer. This answer we had discussed below. If you want to try this and you will also get the same values. Okay, there will not be any differences. Centroid will be in the same position, same x value you will get, same y value you will get. Okay, so we'll move to one more complex thing. See, take this diagram. This is somewhat complex to us, right? So to find out this, consider like this is your y-axis and this is your x-axis. Now we have somewhat different positions. Now consider this as one thing and find out only this triangle. Okay, consider this as the second thing and find out only this right angle triangle. After this we have another one thing, that is your rectangle. In that rectangle, leave the position, like you can detect this semicircle also. Okay, this can be solved in two types of methods. Listen, first I'll tell you first method to detect it, then you can adopt the second method. First method is like, you can take this first as a right angle triangle, this portion as a other right angle triangle, and consider this as a rectangle and subtract this as a semicircle, and consider the upper portion as a semicircle, then you subtract another one semicircle. So you will get so many different type of structures and you can solve it. Another one method is like, you can take this as a first triangle, then you can take this as a second rectangle, this as a third triangle, and this as a whole semicircle, and you can neglect the whole circular position. You can neglect as a circular portion, or you can neglect this as a two different type of semicircular portion. It is according to your wish, but the answer remains the same. So when you do here, they had taken as a semicircle and they had detected into a single circle. Okay, so first component is one triangle and the third component is another triangle. The center position is your taken as a rectangle and the upper position is taken as a semicircle. How they had detected? They had detected the same circular values. If you want to detect it into two parts, you can detect two times of semicircle. Both the answers will be same. It is according to your wish. You can take it as a two semicircle or one common circle. It is your wish. So after calculating, you will get x bar as 126.8 mm and y bar as 44.3 mm. See, after calculating, you can find out the triangular portion, rectangular portion, and everything. You can get the value of your centroid. What is that states means your x value is 126.8 mm from your y-axis and y value is 44.3 mm. In that coordinate only your centroid is acting. Okay, this all we had discussed about your centroid problems, how it is how to calculate your centroid of your complex problems. In our last class we had seen using your first principles. Okay, up to this portion your complete centroid problems are over. In our next class video, we'll see about a moment of inertia. So up to that is your module number 4. After completing that portion, you can study your centroid as well as your moment of inertia clearly. If you have any doubt, you can ask me at any time. Do study the centroid methods. First of all, you study the formulas well, then you can do your sums, further sums. Okay, do study carefully. I'll give you assignment questions also. Do that and circulate it. Thank you.